And I'd like to ask you, what does it mean to you to have an unbreakable business?
An unbreakable business means that it is so abundant in abundance of fill in the blank, abundance of money, abundance of people, abundance of courage, abundance of um, uh, whatever it takes to make it work ethically, abundance of. When you have an abundance of, you cannot be breakable. You can sustain hits. You can sustain punches and kicks and still maintain survival. Not only that, but you can continue to flourish and prosper. And only levels of abundance of dot 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 can survive that. Normal levels can't. Normal is the worst condition to be in because normal makes you think everything is fine until one day you wake up and it's not. One day there's an economic collapse and it's not. One day there's a pandemic and it collapses. One day somebody gets sick or dies in your family and it collapses. So that's normal. Normal is thinking that everything is fine until one day you realize it's not. Well, abundant levels of people, of resources, of assets, they are the only things big enough to withstand hits and still maintain, flourish, and prosper. So unbreakable means nothing can tear it down no matter what.
Wow,
Perfect.
that is amazing, and that is so important for people to realize that. When something, if you take a big hit, no matter what it is, if you're not prepared, if you don't have that abundance, then it could literally destroy a family.
Absolutely, million percent.
Yeah.
So, what do you think business owners can expect, like, let's say in the next year with the economy? I know Grant speaks a lot on this, but I wanted to kind of see, like, what is your input on that? What do you think they can expect, and how is this 5-day challenge going to help business owners through that?
Okay, so I'm gonna put it out there and I'm gonna tell you what myself and my family are doing to prepare for the next 12, 18 months. We're preparing for slaughter. And look, at the same time, I'm going to tell you and your audience to stay away from the news, stay away from the negativity. At the same time, it doesn't mean be ignorant, not prepared, not be willing to adapt and adjust. I'm telling you to stay away from the news and all of the negativity that's going to actually get you to withdraw, because the normal people are going to withdraw and contract in these moments, and that's not what the people who make it out on the other side of this do. The people who make it out on the other side of this, by the way, there's going to be more millionaires made in this next little cycle over the next 12, 18 months than have ever been made before. So there will be the ones who get stomped on, and there will be the ones that actually make it out stronger than before they went into it. The people that go into this willing and being aware of what the potential and the possibilities are, and can make a pivot and can adjust, are going to be the ones that can get themselves and their families through this on a survival level.
Mm.
So again, what do I think? I think it's going to be really bad for a lot of people. I think it's going to be really bad for a lot of people. Now, would I like to be made wrong in this? Absolutely. However, I'm prepared for that. Grant and I are preparing. I saw him go through the first economic collapse in 2008, where we almost lost it all. I saw him apply systems and processes that pulled us out to then get on the other side of this, running a multi-billion-dollar organization. We have financial freedom, financial legacy at this point because of the systems that Grant found out and implemented back in 2008. Now we're here. Now I see us preparing and using these same systems going forward. Now, let's say on the plus side that nothing happens and we're a knee-jerk reaction. We're going to still be so prepared because we didn't withdraw. We're pouring it on right now. We are going to go more than ever before. We are going to be so skilled in what we need to do to survive this that if nothing happens, we're going to be so far ahead of our normal who do nothing competition, if you even want to call them that or grant them the nice enough name and say they're competition. They're not, but then what they do, then we get out on the other side. So Grant's put together this unbreakable challenge. It's 5 days, 90 minutes a day. This isn't like a whole entire day, 90 minutes for 5 days. Again, it's a free challenge but he's going to give you the tools to cover the 5 pillars that you need to know about, where you need to get the right information about in order to be able to come out of this, not only barely surviving, but actually how do you thrive and come out even greater than you were before you went in. So he's going to be covering those 5 pillars: money mindset, marketing, sales, communication, scaling, all the things that you need to know. 90 minutes of getting the right information.
Love it.
No, I love it because, Grant always says knowledge is power. I love to throw this in there because Grant always says knowledge is power, right? Well, he doesn't just say that. Everyone's heard it. Knowledge is power. Well, what if you have the wrong information? Okay, information, by the way, the origin of the word information means formation of the mind. So if you have bad information that you've been operating with, like normal levels of mindset, normal levels of how to market, scale, or not know, bad information, if you have the wrong information, and information means formation of the mind, wouldn't it be safe to assume that that bad information would actually be a deformation of the mind? So it doesn't mean anything is wrong with you because you haven't been able to succeed in the past. It just means that you haven't been around the right information, because the right information is actually the thing that puts you on the path to actually be able to apply it to life, to actually manifest the thing that which you are wanting to create. Manifest means to make known, to appear. So we and Grant have come up with these tools. When I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana, Grant's from Lake Charles, Louisiana. People like us aren't supposed to know. We're not supposed to be running billion-dollar enterprises. We're supposed to be small. When we were trying to figure this whole thing out, no one was there. None of these big guys, none of these big corporations are out there getting on Zooms and podcasts, giving free information, free 90 minutes. You mean to tell me for 90 minutes, for 5 days, I don't need to pay college institution money? And you're telling me that if you go through this free program, I will have an unbreakable business? They weren't doing that for us. And Grant and I always said, if us, the little people, because that's what they think about you and me, they, meaning the big corporations, these multi-billion-dollar, trillion-dollar corporations think of you. They want you to stay small so they can continue to stay big and control you in your little mindset and all the normal ways that you operate. They want you thinking that. They're threatened by people who are willing to take a little bit of responsibility to get the right information to know more. They want the little people to stay small. Well, Grant and I made a vow to each other in 2008 that if we were to survive, because we were having the threat of losing it all in 2008, if we ever made it to where we are now, all the other quote unquote little people, we were going to be the ones on the Zooms and the podcast giving the actual information that can help normal people who aren't so normal, but quote unquote normal. We could help all the other normal people actually be able to change and preserve the condition of their life and into power for themselves.
Yeah, and I can just attest to that firsthand. Like after 2 days of masterminding with you all in San Diego, I completely changed a lot of the way that I was running my business because of it. And one thing I took away right away was Grant was like, why are you always afraid to email your list? You know what I mean? Email them 2-3 times a day. It's your list. What are you afraid of? Big corporations aren't afraid to email their list. You know what I mean? Because I was so afraid. I was like, I don't want to bother them too much. And maybe only just a couple emails a week so that they don't unsubscribe. He's like, unsubscribe.
Just get more, right? Because it's about expansion. It's about expansion, not scarcity. Scarcity is you have to hold on to everything because you're in this fear that there's no more. This is about expansion. There's 8 billion people on this planet Earth. People is not your problem. There's people. So let them unsubscribe. They're probably already grooved into you anyway. They're coming to your events. They're showing up in your membership weekly calls. They're okay. They can unsubscribe, but you've got to put the content out. Why? Because your products, Wendy and Christina, are good enough and you're helping people. So by you not putting your product out and me not having the opportunity to see it, you're actually withholding me from good information that actually could have helped me with my family. And 2 emails a week, you know how much noise there is that you have to get through? You've got to go through my children, my husband, politics, vaccines, COVID. You've got to go through a lot of noise that's going on in my brain to actually penetrate where I see the 7th email from Wendy and Christine, and I go, wait, let me click on that. I
Yeah,
might have
so
missed
true.
the first 2 because I'm busy. I meant to look at it, but my kids started calling me from the other room and I left. And then the emails go up and I missed it. You see, but
Yes.
you're worried, oh, I'm going to be offended. Offend me. Why? Because you believe in your product so much that you're willing to offend somebody because you know that if I have your piece of information, my life is going to get better. When will you, and now you do, but when will you, the viewer, Wendy, even myself, I'm guilty of this too. When will you be willing to step up and take responsibility for somebody else's life? What makes you think they know better about their life than you know?
Right.
You know your information and your content helps me. So take
I
responsibility and
love it.
overburden me with it.
I love it. Yes. And you're going to get so much out of this challenge because I'm telling you, out of 2 days, I walked away. I was like mind blown. I walked away, was mind blown. I was like, oh my gosh, like I will never show up small again in my business ever. Cause that's how I felt like I was playing. And after that 2-day mastermind, I was like, I will never, I just like what I just had just, I don't know, just put a fire in me to where I was like, I'm going to be bold and I'm going to show up big. You know what I mean? So
I
thank
love
you for
that.
that. Thank you for that. Definitely was, it changed my business completely in the way that I showed up in my business. So I can only imagine what this 5-day challenge is going to do.
Oh, yeah, it's gonna be amazing, and like Elena, you said 90 minutes, that's tiny amount of time for the value that you're gonna get from this challenge and how it literally will change your life. So, yeah, you definitely spend those 90 minutes a day. I know I'll be on. I mean, it's
I'll be on too. I'm
yes,
just
I
gonna
can't
be
wait.
speaking, be
Already
speaking and
carved
all
out.
those tactics. But it's really, it's, you know, everyone who, and I know your women audience here, and they're just magnificent. And I'm really honored that you trust me enough to allow me to speak to these women on your call here that are so powerful, you know, um, and it's like I say, the women, the reason I have such a soft spot for women is I believe women have the power. You know, men have physical strength, and I love my men. I want to see more women get along with men and figure out how to work with them to reach heightened levels of success. So that being said, let me get back to my point about women. Um, Women, I just feel, have the power. You know, we have the power on this planet. You know, the definition of power means the capacity or the ability to influence the behavior of others. We have that power. We have a man's ear, our children's ear, our community's ear. We have power of influence. We can make things happen. So women, we need to come together and really own our power and how powerful we are and how magnificent, and that we need to take responsibility for this planet that needs us and this healing, you know. So you can envision, we're the visionaries. We are the ones that birth life, literally, right? We are the ones responsible. I'm going to go deep here for a second. Okay, we are the ones responsible for the procreation, literally, of civilization. Civilization, yes, we need a man for that, but our role is we are the creators. You know, on our deathbeds, there's been a worldwide survey on the deathbed. When people are on their deathbed, men, women, they ask for 2 things. They ask for God and their mother. Why are we equated to the creator of all? Because we are the creators, right? So we are the visionaries. We are the ones that have to lead and turn the trajectory of this planet around, right? And so you visualize what you want it to be. Okay. And all of that, how do you want it to be? Who do you want around you in your life? How do you want your children, and what environment do you want them to be in? How do you want your marriages to look like? You can visualize all of that. Now I ask you, what are you willing to give up in order to have what you want to create? What are you willing to give up? Are you willing to give up normal mindset? Are you willing to give up a little bit of time to get in the right information to really give you the ability to apply your power to this planet? And then
Mm,
it goes back to, can you and will you sacrifice and make time? You know, spend time and energy. It costs you no money in this instant to spend 90 minutes for 5 days to become even more powerful than you already are. So you can take a little bit more responsibility for your life and for the lives of people around you so that we can win in this world.
yeah.
Because when people are winning, they're not hating. We have to, the women of the world, we have to get this people and ourselves winning again.
Mm. I love that. Gave me goosebumps. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Absolutely. I mean,
Woo.
that really is so powerful. And I love how you said the power of influence and how women have to use that and band together and turn things around. And I think right now, a lot of women are really scared. So like, what advice, Elena, would you give women, who are feeling anxious about whether their businesses are going to survive, this upcoming economic downturn?
I would say surround yourself by the people who are winning, who have the content. Alienate yourselves from toxic people, toxic relationships, toxic news. Really, what are you willing to do to make yourself a better entity? And it's up to you to get the right information. So, lastly, I know I'm telling a lot of things, but lastly, I would say, going back to what I just said, create the vision of how you want your business to be, how you want your family to be, what you want your friends to look like. Create that picture in the future and live from the future into the present, not from the past and all of your past failures, mistakes, what didn't work. Sever the ties from your past. The past is in your past. You're not the same person you were 15 minutes ago rather than 3 years ago. Who cares that you failed back then? Put the picture of who you are in the future, okay? Have that picture always there. Reverse engineer. What steps do you need to go through in order to become that person you want to be in the future? If I want to be the face of the women empowerment movement, if I want to be a good speaker, if I want to speak to stages, what would I need to know? I would have to have confidence. Is there a confidence course? I would have to be around people that could believe that I could reach the masses. I would have to take communication courses. I would have to go to X, Y, and Z seminar. I'd have to actually learn about how do I have my business be unbreakable? And then you schedule it in. And just like boxes that you check, once you go through those boxes, you all of a sudden start to manifest that future. So live from the future, not from your past, and actually do the items that are going to make you have in the future. Much like if you were going to put yourself on a physical fitness program, what would you do? You would consult somebody who knows what they're doing. You would get and abide by their program, right? You would lift your weights and stay away from blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And by the time you got through that cycle, you would have a physical body change if you applied and did everything you were supposed to. It's no different in the physical universe than it is with a physical body. If you have your future and you write your prescription, X, Y, and Z, get the right information, avoid the wrong people, meaning the junk food, if we're going back to that analogy, the watch TV time instead of workout time, blah, 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 blah. If you put yourself on this formula, I guarantee you, you have what you created in your mind at this moment in a certain period of time. It is a no-brainer and it works without fail every single time.
Yes.
I love
Yes.
that. I
And,
love
and
that.
oftentimes and you and I kind of touched on this a little bit in Miami. Oftentimes women are in business aren't really supported by their partners. Like, I mean, unfortunately, it happens, and it's actually why I got a divorce because my partner didn't support me in my business. What advice would you give to women who are not supported by partners and who might be like showing up small because they're afraid that they're going to either, emasculate him or make him feel a certain way because she's more successful than him? Women, like a lot of women who I speak to, especially because I'm around so many successful women, go through this oftentimes more than not, unfortunately. You're in a very great relationship where Grant supports you 1,000% and vice versa. But a lot of women, unfortunately, don't have that support by their partners. What advice would you give to women when it comes to that?
Look, I mean, Grant is amazing and he supports me, but I don't want to give him any negative PR because he's really supported me. I mean, that's obviously clear. But let's be clear. I had to take responsibility in how I delivered the message when I was really ready to go out and create this movement of my own, right? So when I started to do that a few years ago around COVID, a little pre-COVID, but COVID in 2020 really ignited me to like, okay, I have to take responsibility for women now. So it threatened him in the beginning because I would just started to do my own, quote unquote, my own thing. Well, I hadn't talked to him. So now he was like, wait, what's going on? I had this wife who was all supportive and she was helping me with all these businesses and doing this and doing that. And now she seems to be doing this. Am I going to lose her over here? Wait, I don't know if I like this program. What does this mean to be this women empowerment? Because his version of that meant women alienate men. So why is he going to get on board with that? He's depended on me. I've depended on him. So there was friction in the very beginning, but like I would give advice to all women, okay? It's your responsibility to include them as much as you want to be included on their mission. Don't assume that just because something is existing in your head, that it's actually made it across a space into their mind with duplication and understanding at receipt point. So a lot of people keep these things in their head, how they want to be supported by their man, but never tell them, make them wrong when they do everything but that. The guy's trying to guess how to support you is doing it the best way that he thinks, but y'all aren't having an actual communication. Y'all haven't come together and said, who are we as a couple? Where are we trying to go as a couple? What are the couple's goals? Okay, this is our individual goals. This is your individual goals. Look, I love you. The greatest act of love I can give you is to help you achieve your goals and your dreams. When you help me do that, I love you more. That's why I'm with you. I can do what I can do on my own. I've proven that. But how strong can I be together with you? How can you push me to heightened levels of success and vice versa? Let's have that conversation. How can you be supported? Look, Grant, this is what I want to do. I want to empower women because I think women X, Y, and Z. And this is what I intend to do. And I don't intend to neglect your side, quote unquote, because it's our side. I'm trying to restore the family dynamic on this planet. That includes, I need you. I'm not trying to isolate you. So how can we bring our two worlds together to support all of us going together? So having that communication, getting the agreement. Grant, I want to help women. You were a single mother. I mean, you were raised by a single mother. Are you opposed to women being empowered? Well, no, I had a single mom. Sherry's the COO of our, of course I support women. Okay, well, that's all I'm trying to do. You see what I'm saying? But these conversations had to be had. And sometimes these independent, powerful women, I know, because I was one myself, can do everything and don't need a man to do it, right? Because we're powerful and we are. But when you put that off onto a person, I don't need you. What kind of a person doesn't want to be needed? Of course, they're going to be like intimidated and emasculated, right? Because I want to be needed. A man wants to be needed. If you're all this and that and don't need them, that doesn't feel good. Guess what they're going to do? And I know this firsthand because I did this in prior relationships because I was that girl. All those guys, guess what they did? They all cheated on me because they found girls who found them fascinating and interesting. Me, I didn't care what you did because I don't need you. but I was in a relationship with you. So then I made myself right that all men cheat and all men hold me back. And I made myself right every single time about that until I was willing to be open to the possibility that a man could lift me up and a man could be monogamous. And that's when Grant Cardone walked into my life. And that's what we've been building ever since. So again, not all men are going to support you. And there are evil people out there who are interested in the active suppression of you. And those people, why did you pick them? That's your also responsibility. You picked them, not me. So you handle that, clean that up, and then make a decision that you're going to collaborate with a man for the couple's goals to reach a heightened level of success. Now, most of you are in relationships that are not trying to suppress you. They just don't know what is needed and wanted. And you, as the powerful woman, haven't taken responsibility to show them where you're going, where we're going, what's the goals, what are we doing together? You're not showing support, active interest in the success of each other. You haven't taken responsibility for your power, for influencing the behavior of your partner. And when you own this skill and really own the power that you possess, this cycle should fairly maintain and come along with a level of ease.
I love that. I love it. Okay.
That is amazing.
Wonderful. That's good. That's really good. Because you're right. Yeah, you're right. A lot of times it is definitely a communication issue because women and men communicate so differently, right? We just don't like we think we're always in our heads more than not, and they're just very kind of simple communicators. So we kind of over communicate or overcomplicate sometimes. So yeah, that makes sense. Perfect.
You know,
all right.
And a lot of times, just briefly to tap on that, you know, as a woman, I've had to overcome having to be right all the time, you know, like really pushing my point to make myself right. Now I go into communications or upsets or arguments with the intention, rather than making myself so right and proving him so wrong, I approach it and I go into it with, how are we going to come to an agreement on this to get us over this? Every distraction that I waste on a fight or an argument is going to just add time to my big picture goal, because now I'm focused on this rather than that with him. So I go into it with, I don't need to be right. How do I get us to make agreements that we can both live happily with and not have to make him so wrong, which makes him dig into his rightness? That's also been a very big.
Oh, that's a good point. Very good point. Yeah.
You know, how do I get us back on the same page? And I take responsibility for that. You know, I'm responsible for the family dynamic, not Grant. Honestly, I know it takes quote unquote two to tango. Grant runs the business. Grant does, you know, his magic and I support that because I want everyone else to have the information that Grant's figured out. But Grant doesn't figure out and run this whole family dynamic. That's me. I keep us, the family unit, on track.
And that's a great point because and I remember in your mastermind you were talking about how, and I thought this is brilliant, and that kind of leads me to the next question, is that, like, how do you handle the pressures, you know, of success between you and Grant? But it's because I learned from you that you really have an agreement of who handles what tasks or who is responsible for what things in your relationship, and it's clear. And so because it's so clear, I think you guys handle it so well. Tell us a little bit more about that. Like, I'd love to know a little bit more about how you allocate, who decides, like, what, you know, Grant's business, your home, like what else do you guys do to kind of handle the pressures?
Well, the first 4 years of our marriage, we were each building on our own thing and coming home and sort of destroying, by exactly what you're saying, vying for these power positions and fighting. And I was fighting him, wasted a lot of time. Then after the 2008 economy collapsed is when I realized, wow, what would happen if I actually partnered up with the man I was actually married to instead of fighting him? If we could figure out how to get along, stop fighting, and go create something really big and substantial and help a lot of people along the way. So that goal became interesting. When you put a big enough goal in front of you, in front of the two of you, and that's where women have to get smart. Like I told my husband, you have to go create $1 billion, right? And I told him that. He was furious. He was angry at me. How dare you? You don't have to push and shove. When's enough? That's an impossible goal. But I did that. I didn't communicate the other thoughts properly, which is you can help people. You're big enough. You should be walking amongst the giants in the world because you actually have data and information that can help people. They won't, you will. Once I got him to see that, I focused him. That became a game. You realize when I gave him an order to do that, actually, that was just a manifestation in the physical universe. That was like a real life demo. Does this thing living from the future into the present, can that really be real? And the answer is now I've done it. Yes, it is real. So I gave him this goal. Now I said, I'm going to support you, show active interest in the success of you I'm going to create a distraction-free environment around you. I'm going to flow you as much power and I'm going to help and create and guide. And you have me as a teammate during all of this. How we're going to do that and stop fighting each other, because we don't now have time. The game isn't about fighting each other now and about who gets to pick what movie or who gets to eat what food or who leaves the toothbrush in the wrong spot or who doesn't close the cabinet door. All those little things have to stop, right? Because now we had a goal of $1 billion, which seemed impossible. Right. But I thought if we had 1 billion people, if we made $1 billion, imagine how many hands our products, Grant's products, would have to have been exchanged in order to make $1 billion. We would have to know how many people, right? So then I decided, okay, from that point to stop the fighting, what are the roles? Who's going to do what in order for us to achieve this massive couples goal? Who's going to do what? Grant, obviously, it was easy to figure out. We do look more traditional in our household, but it should be based on strengths and weaknesses. Grant's strengths are clearly the business, clearly the marketing, clearly the promotional arm. Great. You run everything with the business. I can advise, but at the end of the day, I found the one I trust and I back you. So even if it wasn't the way I would have done it, if he makes a decision that's contrary to mine, that's it. I support him. Boom. You've got the stat in that area. Now it just so happens that I happen to be this incredible, support. I can run a family. I can be smart enough to influence him, to guide him to the way to lead. I'm responsible for who's around us, who's the internal inner circle, what trips do we take and who's with us and who's homeschooling. All of that is my umbrella. He can advise, but I make the executive decisions and we respect each other in our roles. I can now give 100% in my roles in all of my areas, and he can give 100% in all of his roles in his areas. Together, we're 200%. We're not 50-50. That's normal. That's how normal people operate, and that's how normal people die. So we figured out who does what, and it's helped us stop fighting, but we have a big purpose. We're fortified. When you really start going for the big games in life, like I want to restore the family dynamic on the planet. Do you realize how many enemies are out there who want to see the family dynamic destroyed on this planet? I don't know if you have the capacity or the ability to confront evil. It wasn't easy for me. I always thought everyone was good and wanted what was best for me. Now I can confront that evil exists, that people don't want to see me and Grant succeed. People want to see us end in divorce. People want to see us fail. There are enemies out there. I don't have to have Grant as my enemy. There's going to be enough enemies out there. I need all of Grant's support to fight them, the real enemy. My husband and your partner and your children and your family members aren't the real enemy. They just need to be guided along the way. And the 2% that are really the enemies, you got to figure out a way to alienate them. But most people just need your guidance and your power of influence in the right direction.
I love it.
Wow.
Love it.
Very, very powerful. Really amazing. So you guys have been through a lot, ups and downs. And you said 2008 was a big defining moment. Was there a moment, though, that you finally just said to each other, wow, we've really made it?
Yeah, we used to say hand to, the Lord here. Every single weekend, we had a meeting on Sundays to figure out where we were and where we were going. And every single time we would say, when are we going to make it? When are we going to make it? When are we going to make it? even when people thought we had made it, we're like, they think we've made it. We're like, when are we going to make it? Well, it wasn't until probably, I guess, a year, I don't know, around a year ago when I actually found out that we were legitimately billionaires. Still not even real to me. I'm a girl from New Orleans. I've never been to college. It's really digits in a bank account. It doesn't change anything other than the fact that I've been validated for exactly everything that I've been doing. But we stopped saying, when are we going to make it at that point? Because we realized we achieved that goal that we had set for ourselves. The first one, there was also the goal to reach 8 billion people. So in order to reach 8 billion, we have to, if we're going to go for 25 more years that we have, I have to reach somewhere like 400 million a day or something like that. So now it's about, how do I get Wendy and Christina on the program? How do I collaborate? How do we reach? I can't do it myself. I need to sync up with other people that can help me reach 400 million people a day, or a year, 400 million a year. I think it's a year. I need to reach 850,000 a month.
A lot. A lot of people.
It's a lot of people. So even though we've stopped saying, when are we going to make it? We still are saying, are we going to get there? Like, when are we really going to be satisfied? So, target 2 is 8 billion. We want half winning from our products and services. Look, if we only reached 5% of 8 billion, that's 400 million, so 400 million that would have the influence to make a difference for the better in their families' lives, both personally with the family dynamic and financially. Like, I could be happy with myself at that point. I'm going for a spiritual legacy play at this point. It's 8 billion. It's how many people can be successful. I don't know how we're going to rate that. I guess when we start looking at world statistics and everything seems to be improving, that I can say, wow, I had a hand in that sector. But until families and divorce rates stop deteriorating, until they come back, until they sustain, and actually men and women can learn how to flourish and prosper, and children can become productive members of society, until there's less drug and depressions and suicides, I guess I haven't achieved what I want to do with this little lifetime. So I guess I'm still asking myself, when am I going to make it? When are we going to make it? Because I can't make it alone. I need the planet to come along with us, or I don't make it. I don't need to fly around on a brand new G650 airplane to think I made it. That feels good. And all of those are markers and rewards for the validations of the rightnesses and the wrongnesses that we've avoided. But my real validation and spiritual legacy is how many people can take care of their families, how many family units can survive, how many people can we get off of drugs and alcohol and depressions and suicides, and when we have that figured out, then I can say, all right, maybe I can rest now and go have a fight with my husband, or I can rest now and go watch the whole series of Netflix, every single series, or now I can go rest on an island and drink pina coladas until I pass out. But until then, you won't catch me doing that.
That is incredible. And what a mission that is. I mean, you are going to change the world, and we all need to jump on board with you and help do that and get the mission out, because this is so powerful. Just what you've told us so far today is just absolutely mind-blowing. It's going to, everyone who's listening to this, especially struggling with relationships, and your business and just everything that you've said. So yeah, incredible. And we're behind you to help.
Thank you.
1,000%. 1,000%.
Thank you. I need you. So that means a lot to me. Thank you.
Don't make me cry, Elena. My eyes are getting teary. Don't do it.
So switching gears a little bit, what would you say would be your biggest mistake that you've made as an entrepreneur?
Okay. The biggest mistake that I made was I had always prided myself on all the visions that I had for Grant and the company and the organization, every single thing. He hasn't acted on every single one of my ideas. Most of them hit the chopping block. But prior to this one event, all the ones that he did activate and go along with were huge, massive successes. I came along, some family, some friends that became friends that I felt, well, they were richer than us. I felt like they had successful company. They had some stats. And I compromised my knowingness, my integrity, our capacity. I undercut our ability to go out and create something on our own. I wanted to fast track our way to success. I wanted to hook up with a joint venture with this other partnership. I saw red flags. I ignored them. I thought that's in their personal life. That doesn't transfer over into the business world. Stay out of their business. Really unethical things going on that I turned a blind eye to. Because, I justified it and I wanted to chase the dangling carrot. I let them into the empire. We came off of our empire to focus on this thing. It turned into a very ugly, nasty situation within that empire. Empires are destroyed from within, right? So when we made this merger, they were threatened, thinking that they were going to lose their position from the opposite side. So they mustered up lies and whatnot, all lies, all none proven, all disproven, by the way. But it hurt us. It hurt our relationship. It hurt our company because we came off of what we were doing to go do this other thing. It ended in a years-long lawsuit, all of which got dropped, all of which was proven inaccurate, false. But, the few years that you get dragged through the mud, it challenges the relationship. It puts a strain. It introverted my mind on, my knowingness, my abilities, made me feel discredited within my organization and with our executives. I felt like, how could I save face? I wanted to give up. I wanted to just, go douse myself in a lot of excess of alcohol usage. That's what I used to do as my solution to numbing my pain when I was a teen. So, I had to really fight all of those urges, pick myself back up, really take responsibility, not for being a victim and how we were betrayed and how unjust we were treated, all of which is true. But I really wasn't able to get over that until I looked at where was my responsibility level. And I compromised our integrity, our capabilities. I put that somebody else knew more than me. I saw red flags. I ignored them. I hold myself responsible. And that will never happen to me again. I will never take off my crown and give it to somebody else because I think they know more. My crown is my crown, and I will wear it and I will own it and I will take responsibility for it. And whether I do wrong or I do right, if I do wrong, I will correct it and make it right, and it will never happen again. But I'm never giving my crown to somebody else because I think they're better than me. Over. Biggest mistake I made.
But it sounds like it was also one of your greatest lessons too, which is kind of
Yes.
always the case, right? Like
It is beyond. The end of that story is beyond, because I went from wanting to, figure out how to eliminate people. I'm Italian. I was like, okay, we can whack them. This is just in my head. I was like, who do I know? And then I was like, no, the answer is flourish and prosper. It came from a very great mentor of mine, L. Ron Hubbard, in a book that he wrote called The Way to Happiness. The 21st precept of that book says to flourish and prosper. And that's saved my life. Flourish and prosper. That's how you handle life. Flourish and prosper. And that out of that incident birthed the idea of the Cardone licensees. How can we come up with Cardone capital and allow all the other little people to invest alongside of us, really step into our power and actually become billionaires? Like enough was enough. And really, how do we collaborate with the masses? How do we come out and now own 10X Studios, putting out our own content, 10X Health, 10X Ventures. So out of that became Flourish and Prosper. And out of that, I have zero hatred in my heart for any of the people that were involved in that original cycle. I genuinely want nothing but the best, because the hate isn't there. The winning and the flourishing and prospering and helping people healed me, like genuinely healed me.
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
incredible. You just prove that how you can turn things around, any obstacles that anyone has, it's how you're going to react to it and how you viewed it. Like you said, you could have went one way, but you turned to the other way to flourish and prosper, and it made your life even better. So that's a great lesson for everyone who's listening.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know we're running out of time, but I want to ask you this last question. When I was in San Diego, one of the most fascinating things that I took out of it, and if you don't mind just kind of just sharing a little bit about it and why you do it, I think the why was the most important part of it too, is like you and Grant every year start at zero every year. Like, tell us a little bit about that and why that. I just thought this was so incredible, like why you do this and like how you do it. Not necessarily the how, but the why. Like every year you guys start at zero is what he was saying. Like you start the year off at zero.
Yeah, because what he's talking about is the principles of money that we've always applied, which is really quickly how to earn it, how to store it, and then how to invest it, right? And most people don't know those three basics about having money. So we use all earned income on self-enhancement back into ourselves or to the business, and that's it. No planes, no designer clothes, no movie night, all goes into self-enhancement or business. Once you're doing well enough because you've self-enhanced, right? Then you have a surplus that gets stored. And then the third goes into an income producing property where we receive cash flow. That's how we created our wealth from number 3, not number 1, contrary to what you might believe because how much you see us work out there. So we go to zero every year, meaning we take that stored surplus from number 2, we take it and we dump it into this income multi-unit. We have apartments, multi-family that spits out income at us. So when we go to zero, it does a number of other things. It makes us not rely on saving it and holding it and being terrified not to lose us. It actually forces us to go back out and work and regenerate money. So now we've built up this muscle of, we can create on any given moment. Plus, it's expanded our minds. Now, since we have to go recreate money, what avenue and how are we going to do it and who do we have to meet? So we have multiple expansion, abundance of, right? Not able to sustain hits, right? So it forces your creativity, right? To go out and recreate. And now we have this muscle and this certainty that you can take anything away from us at any given moment. And we can restart over because we act as if we're at zero because we can't touch that money. It's in real estate. You can't pull it out. It's in an income producing asset. Also, the emergencies don't seem to find us. People come to us, a family member, I need to borrow this, that. Of course, we can help our family members, but along the way, it's sorry, I don't have any money because it's all in the real estate. So it practices that muscle to keep us always in an abundant mindset, always hungry, always working, always expanding, and not getting comfortable and resting on our laurels, which makes us then go into scarcity and retreat. We've always got to be on expanding because when you're not expanding, you're retreating.
Yes.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
Oh my gosh, that is
Right?
absolutely mind-blowing. The how you just explained that. It
Mhm.
really is. I mean, I can't wait for this challenge because this has just been amazing. Just talking to you today and everything that you've shared with us is just wow.
Yes, it's been
Yeah,
incredible. And
it's been
Elena,
absolutely incredible. Everybody needs to sign up for this challenge because this is, I mean, you just got a small taste of an hour of Elena's absolutely incredible, amazing. I mean, it's the stuff that you shared today. You don't hear anywhere. That's what's so incredible, and you could see that your heart is truly in helping humanity, helping people, and what you revealed to us today is like, wow.
yeah, that's why I
Yeah.
definitely wanted to have you on here because I thought you know how I feel about you. I just adore and love you so much. I was like, oh, I've got to have her on here. And because like you just changed my whole perspective on all kinds of things, including relationships, to be quite honest with you. So I wanted to
Yeah.
absolutely have you on here and share it with my audience and with Christina's audience so that they could get a little glimpse of your just incredible amazingness, just who you are as a person. So, because I think that, it's an image out there that, you're untouchable or that you're, you know what I mean? Like she's a billionaire, but you're so down to earth and such an incredible human that I was like, I have to show my audience like that side of who you are. And so thank you for being here with us. I so appreciate it so much.
Thank you
Oh,
so much, Elena.
1,000,000%. I can't thank you enough for helping me with my mission and what you're doing for women out there. I value women so much. I can't wait until the day when when a woman can be at a party and they can be interviewing the guy, let's say in a standard traditional way, right? And the man's like, oh, I run this, or I have this, and I run this corporation. And the wife, oh, and what do you do? And she's like, I'm a mom. And they're like, you're a mom. Like all of a sudden it's like, wow, you're only responsible for the creation of civilization. Wow. Like everything else is like just secondary.
That's the way it should be. Yes.
That's definitely how it should be.
Right? Yeah. Right? We have the most important job.
Yes, it's the hardest job ever. 3 kids. I attest to that.
So that's why I appreciate women so much, because I do value who you are and your power and what you're doing. I want to see you acknowledged. I want to see you own your power. I never want to hear anyone say, I'm just a wife. I'm just a mother. Never put just, make that commitment. Never put just, own who you are, and that you, yes, you are making a difference for the better with this life that you have. And I appreciate that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
and
you.
ladies, definitely join the challenge, and you can join it by using unbreakablewendy.com is the link, unbreakablewendy.com. And then Elena, we would absolutely love to have you back the next time that you're doing something that we can help you with and help you promote it. We would absolutely love to have you back for the next thing that you do.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies, so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Elena. You're absolutely incredible. I am so honored that you were here today for us and for everyone watching this. So go join the challenge. Unbreakablewendy.com.
I'll see you there. Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.